Welcome to Celebrate a Sister podcast. I'm your host, Emma Walkinshaw. I'm a transformational coach. I'm also the founder of Embody Me program and the creator of 21 Minutes of Morning Magic. You may also find me on the yoga mat leading yoga sessions and also running retreats here in Australia and internationally. Here on the podcast, I bring you some pretty incredible guests. We talk all things self-belief, body acceptance, personal development, outdated beauty standards, and we also call BS on the toxic diet culture, accepting the beautiful bodies we were born into, letting go of all the beliefs, and raising our self-awareness. I also come to you from time to time with a little solo episode, a little Life According to Emma moment. I'm so glad you're here. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Celebrate a Sister. This week I come to you with a solo episode. Yes, another little Life According to Emma moment. This week, it's a little bit of a book review. I love a little book review podcast. This week I have listened to, because as you know, I don't read books. I listen to them when I'm doing my morning walk or I'm faffing around the house. I love to listen to a book. So this week I have listened to The Diet-Free Revolution by Alexis Conason. She is a pretty incredible woman. And what I love about her, lots of evidence-based information in this book, as well as she has 10 steps to free yourself from the diet cycle with mindful eating and radical self-acceptance. And that's definitely one of her steps in the book, is all about mindfulness and self-acceptance, which I love. But what I really enjoyed about Alex and her whole book, she really debunks diet myths, but she does this from a completely evidence-based place. For those of you out there that love a good fact, that love a good bit of research, she certainly does back it up with that. So she debunks common myths about food, nutrition, health, and weight loss. She argues that diets don't work long term and that the failure diets are often due not to us being useless, but because the diets are flawed. This perspective for me was awesome because it really helped me shift the blame away from me towards an unrealistic expectation of diet culture. A massive light bulb moment for me when she was talking about debunking diet culture and debunking all of these myths. And she was talking specifically about some evidence-based diets that they had looked at and looked at what happened to people when they dieted. And she was saying how some of the diets that they put under scrutiny, they were actually prescribing an individual to follow this diet. It was grossly under the amount of calories that a woman in midlife needed, therefore putting her into, and we've all heard the word hangry, but literally putting her into starvation mode. And she was saying like a massive sign is when you're thinking about food all the time, you're actually hungry. She was saying that the obsession of weighing, measuring, counting, controlling was all little pieces of information that they were discovering about people who had disordered eating. So then what happens is a diet is prescribed to someone and the diet is actually asking you to act like a person with disordered eating. So the very thing someone would do when they've actually got an eating disorder or disordered eating, that's what the diet's prescribing. So we wonder why we get 3 days into a diet and go, I'm useless, I can't stick to this. It's not you, it's the diet. It's asking you to obsess, count, and go into starvation mode. No wonder you can't stick to it. So that was really interesting for me. And they had quite a few case studies about where they'd done this and really restricted people's calories and times they ate and told them what to eat and talked about what happened to them. So for me, massive eye-opener looking at all of the diets that have been prescribed to me over the years or things that I've chosen to do and wondered why I couldn't do it. She also talked about the diet culture actually loves this. So part of the diet culture is setting us up to fail because they actually want to keep this cycle going. It's really great to have you fail at a diet because then you think that you're useless and you get back on and you go again. The industry thrives on its own failures, perpetuating the cycle of weight loss, regaining it, and then going again and wanting to take it off again. Hence the yo-yo diet, the cycle of regaining and losing weight. Also, she talked about how, they'd done a study with the people who had been in The Biggest Loser and how every single one of them, they measured them 5 years later and they had not only put on all of the weight, but they'd put on more weight. And she describes it that when you start to tamper with your set point and your equilibrium, you're actually doing massive damage, and it takes a long time to be able to put that back right again. And what I visualize, this is just life according to Emma, I visualized it like a thermostat that has a set point of like temperature where it likes to run. And when we diet, every time we do that, we're messing with our thermostat. And so I really, really loved the way that this evidence base in this study really opened my eyes up to the harmful effects of dieting. I've made a vow to never diet again. I can no longer in midlife my health cannot afford to mess with this equilibrium. And also at this stage in life, so many studies about women losing muscle mass and, losing bone density. If we're going to diet and really mess with our nourishment or start to go on these crazy diets where we're losing muscle, it takes a lot of work to get that back on. So the other notion that I've heard is really, let's look at our body composition. What's our muscle? It doesn't matter if you're a little bit of a bigger body. It's about the muscle that you have. So that was a really great takeaway from this. The next step that she talked about, so step one, she really looks at debunking the diet industry. She looks at the harmful effects of diets. Then the next step she really looks at is radical self-acceptance. This can particularly be powerful for women in midlife who often face societal pressures to maintain a certain appearance, to look as if they're not aging. Radical self-acceptance isn't easy, but if not now, when? If not now, when? We need to come to this place where we're actually compassionate, we're treating ourselves with really good quality food, nourishing ourselves rather than this criticism and disappointment. And that's why I would say I had to really allow myself to be disappointed that I don't have the body that I thought I should have. And that's a really interesting notion even there, the body I think I should have. So where did I get that should from? I did a podcast not so long ago about what's a normal body, what's a normal woman's body. Part of my should, where I thought the body I should have, is back to what I have been told from a very young age what a normal woman's body is, when the truth is you and I, all of us, are in a normal woman's body. Those of us that call ourselves a woman, we are in a normal woman's body wherever you are. So yes, radical self-acceptance. How do we do that? Well, it's a practice. I don't think there's just one answer there, but let's even just start to open our mind up about letting go of the body we thought we should have, grieving that, and just shifting our perception, allowing us to claim back some mental space. That's the other thing. We have wasted, I'm going to talk about myself here, I have wasted so much energy, time, and brain space dieting and then pursuing a body that was unrealistic for me. Then the third thing that she talks about, which I really love, and it's agency over one's body. So in this, diet-free revolution that she is absolutely championing for, encourages us to really take our power back, start to reject social norms, start to really think about, how do I want to feel? as a woman, how do I want to feel? For women in midlife, I feel this message is particularly relevant as it aligns with, I guess, that place where we say, I can no longer be sold and told a lie. So really taking your power back. So can we be brave enough to reject the diet culture? Can we actually be brave enough to say, I choose no longer to hand my money over and my power over thinking someone is going to have a quick fix for me? Can I just come back to fostering a bit of trust in myself, learning to trust my own body, learning to trust my own health decisions, learning to rely on myself? And then advocating for change is another great one. You know, using your voice. Challenge social norms, open up conversation. I know a lot of my friends, when I've brought this up, there is a lot of resistance about it. You know, I've even got a friend that says, but Emma, I do have a desire to be in a smaller body. And I said, so do I sometimes. But does that mean we hand our power over and let someone else do that? I think we can probably figure it out ourselves, being really gentle, being really, really kind, being soft. You know, embracing these principles, maybe we can move towards a more peaceful and empowered relationship with our bodies and with our food and being really free. You know, that's the feeling that I say. There's so much freedom. And like I just mentioned, brain power, more room for creativity and expansion in my life instead of having this constant, I'm not good enough because I'm not this size or I'm not this or not that. So my darlings, I did just want to share with you this book. You can tell I'm quite excited about it because it's just been quite eye-opening for me. So if you are interested, it is called The Diet-Free Revolution by Alexis Conason. I'll pop it in the notes. So if you're curious about debunking diet myths and just letting go of outdated ideas and beliefs, think about perhaps challenging the next diet that's proposed to you. Can you have radical self-acceptance? Can you accept where you're at and maybe grieve the body you thought you should have? And thirdly, taking the power back again and being an agency over your own body, pushing back on social norms and being just authentically you in whatever body shape, size, colour you are. Thanks, beautiful ladies. I look forward to hearing your feedback. Chat soon. Have you checked out my latest creation? Yes, I am a published author. I've written a book, 365 Days of Morning Magic, Manifest a Life You Love with Clarity, Calm and Joy. This little book is a daily guide that helps you set your intentions. I also invite you to join my free group, 21 Minutes of Morning Magic on Facebook, where I gather regularly with you all and we go through a beautiful little process of yoga, some flowetry, setting an intention for the day. So if you'd love to be part of that, click the link below and I hope you enjoy this beautiful little book.